Just 2 days after the city evicted people living in an encampment at Alexandra Park, signs have popped up in the area notifying the public of a film shoot. The city says film crews are shooting inside the community center, not in the park itself, and the decision to dismantle the encampment was not influenced by filming. 9 people were arrested during evictions at the park on Tuesday. There's been conflict over the clearing of encampments being called dramatic this week. When I spoke with Mayor Tory yesterday, this is what he had to say about the issue.
Bottom line is that we cannot have the public parks indefinitely tied up in a situation that is unsafe for the people experiencing homelessness and that is, denying the right to use parks to all people who are entitled to use them. Everybody. The parks are for everybody.
Now, on Tuesday and Wednesday, the city issued trespass notices at Alexandra Park and Lamport Stadium. Dozens were arrested, with at least 6 people now facing criminal charges. So why do many people insist they are the safest option for those experiencing homelessness? For more, we welcome Johnson Hatlem, a street pastor at Sanctuary. He's been involved in this week's protest. Good morning, Doug.
Good morning. Thank you for having me on.
I wanted to ask you first about the mayor's comments saying that these parks are for public use and citing safety.
Well, I think, the fact is Toronto has over 1,500 parks in its system, and people have to sleep somewhere. The city, according to the city's own data, there are more than 8,000 people actively homeless in Toronto. The shelter system can sleep right around 6,500, maybe 6,700, though a lot of those spaces we've never seen actually come available. So there's, by the city's own calculation, I think the numbers are higher than this, 1,300 to 1,500 people that it just doesn't have room for. And those parks are a public resource. They're a common resource. They should be used for the most vulnerable. I'm a pastor. There's many different religious traditions, but Jesus was very clear with us that we're judged by how we treat the most vulnerable. And in this case, those are people that are our unhoused neighbors. I really think at this point, if Tory is going to continue to not come to the table with us, which he's refused to do for over a year, he needs to resign. You can't arrest, beat, harass, pepper spray, or jail your way out of this homelessness crisis.
Now, we just had that live look at Lamport Stadium, much calmer scene. And Doug, you are actually involved in this week's protest. Can you talk a little bit about what you saw?
Yeah, I would, characterize them as a bit different than a protest. People that came out, many of them, especially the lead organizers, are people that have walked with. I'm so proud of them. I've been doing this work as a street pastor for 15 or 16 years, and these are people that have come day in and day out to meet with their unhoused neighbors, to bring them Gatorade, to care for injuries and emotional needs, to become friends with people. And so these were people that stood with their unhoused neighbors, ready to face down the worst violence that I've ever seen in Toronto. I've been doing this for 15 or 16 years. More than 100 actions, marches, or rallies that I've been to. I've never seen the police so violent. People are not okay. They used chemical agents indiscriminately on people, both at Lamport and then down at 14 Division. Multiple people had their bones broken. Multiple people required stitches to faces from medics on the scene. It was an absolutely awful concussion. One woman suffered from getting her head kicked to the curb. Women inside the fence were sexually harassed by officers in the lead up to the violence. Jamie, my friend, was choked in a scene that's just kind of going around the internet, just a searing picture. Officers used handcuffs in ways to purposely maim and injure people. I just watched as a homeless resident from the encampment. I can't call it anything but torture. The officers were clearly enjoying his screams of pain while they dragged him around by his handcuffs. And this is over the top unacceptable. The lead field officer for the day, Israel Bernardo, needs to be fired. There's already an OIPRD case. I don't know why, given all that's happened, the SIU hasn't invoked its mandate yet, but it needs to. And Mayor Tory needs to speak out against this and come to the table and bargain reasonably, as we've been offering to do for months, weeks, all year. And he won't do that. And if he can't do that, he's not the statesman that Toronto needs.
Now, in our conversation with the mayor yesterday, he said, and police, they said that protesters were refusing to comply with direction before the altercations, and Toronto Police called it a last resort. But Doug, I do want to ask you, we keep seeing these encampments popping up, and you're a street pastor, so you oftentimes speak with people who are experiencing homelessness. Can you talk a little bit about, why do we keep seeing these encampments, and is the city offering options for people when they do clear out these encampments?
Well, they are offering them right on the day, as when the cameras are rolling there. They do have a few dozen spots that they can offer. Most people aren't accepting them now. They've tried them; they don't work. These particular people, but the real problem is we have encampments all over because there's a severe crisis and shortage in bed space. People don't trust that there's not going to be another COVID outbreak in the system. Deaths went up by 50% last year and have doubled so far this year over last year in the shelter system. They're not safe places. Violence has tripled over 2016, according to the data obtained by the Canadian Press. So there's a lot of problems with these shelter systems. The shelter system is right for some people, and when it is, we help to get people in, contrary to what the mayor says often. And one of the things we do is call central intake, which is the number you're supposed to try to call to get people in. And data we've obtained says more than 100 times a day people are told no when they try to get into those spaces.
Okay, Doug, thank you very much for joining us today. All the best.
Oh, it was great to be on. Thank you, Faiza.
Okay, time now 7:13. Devo, over to you.